Okay, so recently I bought dual Flightsticks and TrackIR. Specifically the VKB Gladiator EVO World War II edition for my right hand and just the baseline model for my left hand. And the biggest question for most people is probably, do you really need Flightsticks for ARMA? And the short answer to that question is not really. I mean, you can play ARMA entirely with just mouse and keyboard, like Battlefield, for example. But if you think about GTA Online, it's very beneficial to use a controller in that case. And the same is actually true for ARMA, in my opinion, because flying and driving is much more difficult and dangerous. Okay, so I want to show you a little clip, me flying a helicopter in King of the Hill, doing the combat landings, you know, with a Steam controller and trackhead, which is a cheap alternative to TrackIR. Okay, so this took me a lot of time to learn, had to practice a lot, but I don't think I could do something like this with just mouse and keyboard. But I have tried flying jet and attack helicopters such as the Little Pony, for example, with my controller, and I just don't have the precision you get with mouse or joysticks. Okay, so after a couple of days practicing with my new joysticks, I can tell you it's the most effective way to fly an attack helicopter in ARMA, because you are combining the precision of mouse and keyboard with the smoothness of a controller. Even more so, right? You are extremely smooth, and it's just so much more fun and immersive, in my opinion, especially combined with TrackIR. And the reason I chose TrackIR over Trackhead is just it's much more comfortable. You got no extra cable, you know, and you get these little reflectors. Then they are supposed to go onto your base cap, but I just put them directly onto my headset, you know, and I'm using the Logitech Pro X, by the way. Okay, so why Dualsticks and why specifically the VKB Gladiators? So the idea behind a dual stick setup for me is that I can use it for helicopters, jets, and even spaceships if I want to. And especially these Gladiator sticks are very customizable, and I can turn my left stick, for example, into a throttle with just a couple of easy quick steps, you know. And I'm gonna link the official quick start guide video from VKB in the description, so you can see how exactly all of that works if you're interested in these kind of sticks. But I would advise you not to buy the World War II edition of the Gladiator sticks because of the main trigger, which is almost unusable in its original form. So I had to open up the stick and get inside there and modify the trigger mechanism basically to make it work. So out of the box, this trigger has a very long pull and you just never know when it's going to shoot, you know, and that's just not good. But obviously you are going to lose your warranty if you do that. So anyway, I wanted to talk about the actual input method I'm using here with my sticks now. I'm sure most people know how the classic input method works basically. So you push your stick forward and the nose goes down, you pull it back and the nose goes up. You push your stick left or right and you're gonna roll in that direction. But now that I bought these sticks, I wanted to learn a completely new method basically, which is overall simpler in my opinion at least. Okay, so think about a first-person shooter on a console and you're using your controller. So you're using your right stick for aiming, and what you're doing is basically pushing your right stick in whatever direction you want to aim your crosshair. And you can see that's a very simple, straightforward concept, and also you got all your inputs for aiming and shooting on one hand, on one stick. Okay, so my left stick, however, is currently set up like a throttle. So I've blocked the left and right axis, and when I push my left stick forward, the helicopter flies up, and when I pull it back, the helicopter goes down. And also when I twist the left stick, the helicopter rolls in that direction, which doesn't seem very intuitive at first glance, but if you think about it, by twisting your joystick, your helicopter is basically doing the same thing by rolling in the same direction. And I can already tell the problem is not aiming anymore. The problem now is landing, because I don't know, like trying to override your old muscle memory and learning new inputs at the same time is not easy, but it actually goes quicker than I expected. But I had some very embarrassing moments just trying to land, you know, in King of the Hill, having all the time in the world, just trying to rearm my little pony. I died.
God damn it, Dino.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is, but every time I start the landing process, it's like I'm falling back into my old muscle memory, and it's like landing is the most difficult part about flying a helicopter. It's like multitasking, right? And my tiny little small brain is completely overwhelmed. Okay, so I know these flight sticks are not cheap, and when there's money involved, then people really want to know exactly what's the deal, basically, why should I buy this? And I watch a lot of videos about Star Citizen, for example, and it's the same thing over there, right? People playing Arena Commander, you know, the PvP mode all the time, and they're using only mouse and keyboard, and they're really good at it. But the people with dual flight sticks in Star Citizen, they are just that little bit better, you know? And the same is actually true for Gran Turismo, for example. Another example, you know, a highly competitive game on PlayStation, and a lot of people just use their controller and they play it all the time. They get really good at it, but in the end, people with a wheel and pedals and force feedback, a real sim pit, they are just better, you know. So it really depends on how competitive you are and or how much immersion do you want to have. But there's also your head tracking device, you know. So even if you play with just mouse and keyboard, TrackIR is still essential, because you can't aim and look around with your mouse alone. Also, try and fly a helicopter with your controller and using your right stick for your camera controls, and try to spot the AA vehicle on like 2 clicks. It's not going to work. I tried it, and that's why I bought the Steam controller, because these little touch pads actually help a lot with camera controls in ARMA. And then there's another problem, because you need to mount your joysticks somehow onto your desk. And that's why I have actually spent 3 days building my own joystick mounts, and they work with magnets, so that I can quickly swivel my joysticks out of the way, you know. After landing my helicopter, I want to be able to quickly get into my usual first-person shooter position with my little gaming chair here. Okay, so I hope that helps a little bit. If you want to know more about the Gladiator sticks, then check the link in the description. Like, subscribe, comment, share.
Just put one into me. Jesus.
this is. More than 2,000.